This is the BMW 1M Coupe. Now, some people claim that this is not a proper M car. It is, and in this video I'm going to tell you why. In fact, I'm going to explain why it's actually one of the very best M cars ever made. Let's do this. It's so easy to spot a 1M Coupe over the standard car because it just looks way more aggressive. I mean, look at those flared wheel arches, they're nuts. And then you've got this deeper front bumper with huge air intakes, and there's no fakery here, it's all real. So that feeds air into the radiators, and this helps the airflow over the wheels. At the side, there's 19-inch alloy wheels, extended sills, this M badge here, and special door mirrors, which you can't quite fist. As for the colours, you can get the car in this white, black, or a really crazy metallic orange, which is my personal favourite. Finally, at the back, you get a little boot lip spoiler, M badge, deeper rear bumper, and quad tailpipes. I do so quite like this number plate as well. One of the main reasons that people don't class the 1M Coupe as a proper M car is because of its engine. Normally, an M car has a specially built engine with an S letter designation. This engine comes from the Z4 and has an N letter designation. It's the N54. It's a 3-litre twin-turbo straight six. It puts out 340 horsepower, which is pretty good. You've got 450 newton meters available from just 1500 RPM, and you have an extra 50 newton meters on overboost, so 500 newton meters in total. Top speed, that's limited to 155 miles an hour. BMW says this car will do 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds, but I'm going to find out for myself using my specialist timing gear up here. I'm going to launch it. What can I do? Come on, here we go. Hold on the handbrake. Oh, a little bit of traction control there. That's going to affect my time. Keep going though. 0 to 60, 5.06 seconds. Must try harder, Watson. Let's go again. Come on. This is the one. Yes. And a good gear change. Come on. What are we going to do? 0 to 60, 4.86 seconds. The way this thing hooks up is impressive, and gear change is really good. I'm pleased with that. Now let's find out what this car sounds like when you rev it while it's stationary. Pretty fruity. The 1M Coupe was introduced in 2011, and originally BMW only planned to build 2,700. However, the car proved so popular, despite the fact that some purists said, oh, it's not a proper M car, that they ended up building 6,000. This is one of 450 imported to the UK. Now, if you're thinking about buying a BMW 1M Coupe, or any used car for that matter, you should do a history check first, right? And I recommend you use my friends at Car Vertical with the discount code Watson10 for 10% off. There's a link in the description and the pinned comment. Now, one of the good things about Car Vertical is that, as well as the usual history check stuff, such as making sure the car's not been stolen, it's not been written off, it hasn't got outstanding finance on it, and that the mileage adds up. What it can also do is show you photos if there's been crash damage. For instance, here's an example of a car which was badly damaged in an accident. It went on to subsequently be repaired, and the repairer actually took some photos of before and after. So here's how the car looked before. Not great. You probably wouldn't want to buy it. Afterwards, it looked like this. Now, it might be that the car's been repaired and it's perfectly safe. However, it's better to be warned about this before you actually buy, so you can make an informed choice. So remember, check out Car Vertical, links in the pinned comment and the description. The 1M Coupe came on Michelin Pilot Supersport tyres, and that's what this car is wearing. As for the brakes, you've got 360mm discs at the front and 350 at the rear. Now let's find out how well they perform. Lots of people complain about BMW's M brakes just not being up to the performance of the cars. The ones on this car seem fine, even for spirited driving on the road. I think you might need to upgrade them if you're regularly going on track, but on the road, fine. Anyway, let's check out their stopping power. I'm going to do a full emergency stop from 60 miles an hour right now. So that took just 32 meters to stop from 60, which is really, really good. Really good. The 1M Coupe gets Alcantara on the dash, on the doors, there's red stitching everywhere, look, and here you've got an M gear knob, an M steering wheel with the M logo on it, and M stitching. You've got some M dials as well. You've got some sport seats and M on the kick plates Other than that though, it's like a normal 1 Series Coupe, so okay-ish in terms of quality, but not the best. Here in the back there is a light smattering of M-ness. So the Alcantara extends here, and you've got red stitching there and on the seats as well. Knee room is all right, headroom is just about okay, though people over 6 foot might find it a little bit cramped. The boot capacity of the 1M Coupe is a decent 370 litres, plus you can fold down the rear seats to give you some more space. You can fit 2 spare tyres in the back of this car, which is handy if you're going on a track day. You might need them. It's actually way more practical, this car, than my Porsche 911. The 1M Coupe sits lower to the ground than the normal 1 Series Coupe. It also has a wider track at the front by 7 centimetres and 5 centimetres wider at the rear. It gets uprated springs, dampers and anti-roll bars, and the whole rear suspension system is taken from the E92 M3, including the rear subframes and the limited slip differential. As for the weight, well, this thing weighs in at 1,495 kilos, so it's not exactly light, but by comparison, an M2 competition is 1,650 kilos. Unlike the later M2, which is also available with a dual clutch automatic gearbox with launch control, the 1M Coupe came with a 6-speed manual only. Do you know what? I've never been the biggest fan of BMW's manual gearboxes, but I like this one. The throw's nice and short. It's pretty precise, it's easy to use. In fact, it's fun to use. And the pedals are so nicely placed that it's easy to heel and toe. Do a bit of heel and toe now, completely unnecessarily, I just do it anyway. Because it's fun. Great little gearbox, love it. Let's brake again and heel and toe, unnecessarily. Oh yes, I'm on a racing circuit, not. Oh dear. That's why manuals are more involving. You can just mess around doing that kind of thing. I remember going to the original launch of this car up in Scotland, and afterwards I was buzzing like I'd just done a load of Class A's. It was so much fun. So let's see if it's still as good today as it was then. Whoa. You can tell straight away, it's an excitable little creature. So very responsive to steering inputs, very responsive to throttle inputs. Apparently these can be a little bit snappy, so I've got to be careful out on the road. I didn't know about that when I was thrashing it around in Scotland. Just went for it and hope for the best. Here though, I'm going to be a bit more cautious. Okay, so the suspension can get a little bit upset by bumps. The steering doesn't have much feedback, but it's quick and it's accurate. And the traction's actually really, really good on this thing. You can feel that diff hooking up the rear end from the M3. Really helps you drive out of corners. This engine has quite a lot of punch. It's really good for just catapulting you out of the bends. I love this thing, I really do. It's as good as it was back then. There is one problem with this car though. You see, I'm filming this at the same time as I'm filming the video of the M3 CSL. This is great, it's good fun, and it's one of the better BMW M cars, but the M3 CSL just puts this thing into perspective, really. This car might not have a true M engine, but it goes really well. Whoa! Loads of torque. In fact, this engine is about the torque. You can just be in the wrong gear, no problem at all, come out of a corner, and you just got the punch to get you out. Look at that. Loads of mid-range. Admittedly, it does run out of puff at the top end a bit. That's where it's not like a true M engine. So, just there, it's pointless being up there, it's pointless. But the initial pickup, which is actually more useful when you're just driving on the road, is really good. A little bit of lag, just a little bit, and then off we go. So much punch. And it makes this car a little bit of a feisty thing. You know, if you want to, you can get the back end coming around you really, really easily just because you've got all that low down torque. I'm not going to do that now on the road. It's definitely worth running this car in MDM mode when you want to have some fun, because it stops the traction control being so invasive, but it'll still be there if you get a little bit sideways and you need some help to gather things up. MDM mode. What about the noise though? Does it sound like an M noise? Well, like inside the cabin, yeah, it's all right. It actually sounds better on the outside.
So then, what's this car like to daily drive? The only real problem is that being based on BMW's entry-level model, the sound insulation isn't great. You get quite a lot of tyre noise. Gets me your nerves after a while. But I suppose you can just turn up the stereo. Also, when you're just cruising and taking it easy in this car, the economy isn't too bad. What can be a bit annoying though is when you're just pootling around town, so that firm suspension can feel quite bouncy and jarring over bumps in the road. It gets better as you speed up, but for town work, it can get on your nerves a bit. So too can constantly having to change gear if you're in traffic. The clutch isn't the heaviest, but it's not the lightest either. But overall, I don't really have much of a problem with this car. Yes, I would daily it, quite gladly. Because the thing is, when the road opens up, then you can have some fun. So then, my final thoughts on the 1M Coupe. Well, back when I reviewed it originally in 2011, I gave it 9 out of 10 because it really is a good, fun car. However, when you take into account the used prices today, I'm not so sure. £40,000 for an all right one, you could get a Porsche 911 997 Gen 2. Also, £80,000 for a real minter like this, you could get an M3 CSL, and that just feels way more special to drive. Plus, no one's ever going to say that that car isn't a true M. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you're thinking about buying a used car, check out my friends at Car Vertical. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment and the discount code Watson10. Click on the boxes for some more videos and on my face somewhere to subscribe.